Hey, 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 big hey now to everybody out there. Happy Friday, happy Saturday for most people. Happy Saturday. Woo. Coming to you with another T-Share report. I think it's number 95, give or take a few. Give or take a few streams. We'll dig into this and see where we're at. So first thing I have up on the screen is my little tracking of the T-shares that were originally made to expire between October 29 and April of 2030. So we had a good amount of T-shares. This is the profile of what we had out there that were originally made. A lot of those were original stakes, big payday type stakes. And what I'm doing is I'm putting a filter on this just to really focus in on the stakes that are between 9 and 10 years that are supposed to end. They're scheduled to end in that time frame of October through April of 29 to 2030, in order to kind of get a gauge of, hey, are people capitulating? Are they capitulating? I don't have enough information yet to tell you yes or no, but that's the theory. Theory is that eventually some of these folks are going to get tired and they're going to emergency end stake. Maybe prices go up on HEX. They decide to emergency end stake and get out a little bit early with what they have. So far, this is the info that I have. Originally we had 2,486,000 T-shares, and we're down about 183,000 T-shares at this point from that mark. In fact, over this month, we did pick up some more T-shares that were lost, and we've seen another 3,500 T-shares emergency end staked in April. Ooh, so our big old chart here. Just seeing how many have been ended in January. Had over a little bit over 2,000 the T-shares. February around 380, March 846, but this month quite a few, 3,500. So who is that? I haven't done the research to figure out exactly who. I don't think it's the OA, quote unquote, but I don't know who it is, right? But anyways, we've seen that number come down, and that leaves us. Let me see if I can pull this screen up and make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Ooh. All right. Make it bigger and focus. I could probably make a whole screen just for this purpose, but let's bring it across and go up. All right, so the profile for the number of T-shares ending, if we are like visualizing it on here like we are, yeah, pretty similar, right? It hasn't changed a lot. I mean, the numbers have changed. These numbers have all dropped a little bit month over month. As far as the emergency end stakes have to be debited from somewhere, but this is what remains. So we still have 2.3 million T-shares that are scheduled to end in this period of time. That's 7,467 stakes. If they were all to be emergency end staked today, the total payout in HEX would be right around 8.6 billion HEX immediately, but 33 billion would go to the penalties, and half of that, of course, would go immediately to the OA. The other half would be distributed to stakers, but the OA is also like a 90% staker. So it'll be interesting to see if some of the speculation comes true here, and then we'll see those types of emergency end stakes. I don't think so, but maybe we will. Maybe we will. See the numbers popping up here, people jumping in. I see people in the chat. I see Scrubhead, Beached Whale, Hexagon Lost in Asia. I saw you before. Jay Soul, Quality Entertainment. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Woo. Orez, good to see you, my friend. And yes, we are on fire. Ah, there's my friend. I click buttons. I click buttons. I was thinking about Sonny today, Sonny the detective over there in the Sonny's pub. Think about asking him, see if he'd come on and do do a stream with me, just talking just in general about tax tokens. Because I think a lot of people just have like no clue how they actually operate, what they are, how they work. Not saying pro con, just saying it might be worthwhile to do a stream just on that topic and just make people aware of what they see. Yeah, I was thinking of sending them a note anyways on that. Or as very sweet of you, and well, I guess sweet would be maybe not the right vernacular, but very nice of you to say. Asset to the community. Woo-hoo. All right, let's see. Mick Slamming, dude. I haven't seen you in such a long time. How are you, Mick Slamming? I'm sure you've been around. I'm sure you've been around. I'm waiting for those Hedrons to come back. I was sent a note over to Hexecutioner the other day, just on actuator, because I just don't know how much depth we've gotten into actuator information over there and the Hedron Icosa space, but seems like a good topic for people to take a look at. All right, so let's move into our T-shares and what we got going on with new stakes being made. So this is our average stake length of new stakes. So they've come up. It's come up, as I mentioned, the last few weeks a little bit. We're still running right around the three level, 3 years as being the average for new stakes, and that's 3.5 on the Ethereum side and 2.9 on the Pulse chain side. I use this number just to kind of get a feel for what our staking activity looks like. That's why I look at that, and that's way different, of course, than the open. The average of all the open ones. The average of the open ones is over 9 years, both chains. All right, so that's because the difference between that is that short ones end, right? And so the short ones disappear from the list. They're no longer open, and so they don't appear in this list in the average stake lengths of open HEX stakes. So both measures are good measures to take a look at. But T-share rate, T-share rate. T-share rate is up and to the right. It's continuing to do so. 30-day look ahead. You can just see, just how evened out this has become. Not super inclined on the 30-day. We're highly volatile. The 60-day got some action taking place maybe towards the end of May. May 31st, June 1st. Maybe we'll see an increase of a few hundred in the upwards direction, but otherwise just a slow crawl upwards into the right. We go out 90 days. We're looking at about 42,000 hex per T-share both chains. So this is going to continue, right? I mean, this is pretty much pre-programmed at this point. We go out a little bit further to 120 days. We're still over the 42,000 because it never comes down, but just kind of slowly raising up. We finally get to the end of 2025. Some big changes might happen here in November. Again, it's always dependent on the actual stakers ending the stakes. But we've got some big stakes in November coming out. We've got, looks like right around, well, actually that's October here, but the 25th of October, and then Thanksgiving and which is in November, U.S. Thanksgiving. All right, so that's the end of 25. So I'm thinking we'll clearly be in the 45,000 range by that time, closer to the 50,000 range by the end of 26, maybe 54, 55,000 by the end of 27. So just climbing up into the right. And then when we look at all of our models that we're still following and how they're going, we see this as the T-share rate just climbing upwards and to the right, to the 80K level, somewhere out here in 2040. And but that definition will become clearer over time for sure. Got a dog barking in the background. Hold on 1 second here. Let me see if I get rid of my dog. That's right. So woof woof. So yeah, this is what I'm seeing here for this is what we're seeing for the increase over time, upwards and to the right. Well, I see that coming on and continuing. Look at a drawdown. This is important because when we look at these rates and how they're going up, we go to the 27 model. See how we're going up into the right. Well, this is by and large, these increases are being fueled by the past yield rewards that have been obtained on the HEX stakes that have been in place for a long time. All right. And everybody knows that the payouts have gone down by 75, 80%, right? So payouts have gone down. But it's not going to, it does affect these numbers. I mean, they obviously dropped quite a bit from our previous streams. But it doesn't change the fact that there are these stakes that were made a long time ago that have a lot of rewards, and that when they end, if they end on time, they're going to create new T-share rates that are going to be higher. You are not going to make new stakes that are going to make those kinds of changes yet, maybe someday in the future, but not in the current circumstances. And in fact, the new stakes that we make will not earn enough HEX to outpace the cost of the T-share going up. All right, so what that all boils down to is that while the rate is going up and people are fading HEX and HEX staking, right, the T-shares are going to become even more rare. They'll become even more rare. Because people aren't going to be making them. They're not making them. And that's what this next chart is that or data that I'll pull up here is the drawdown. So looking over about the last month on the Ethereum side, we've seen a drawdown. Let me change my dates here. Did this to me last time we did this too. I don't know why. Something funky with my dates. Not updating this correctly. All right, so we can see this 327. Let me go 327, and all right, reset these dates again for 30 days. So on the Ethereum side, we can see that 60%, over 60% of the T-shares are not being recreated. Right, that's going to make them. This just means that 100 come out and 40 are getting made. Right, over the last month, as an example. On the Pulse chain side, a little bit better, but about 50, right, 58, 48%, close enough to 50, but about half of the T-shares are being remade. And so, for the user community holding T-shares, the number of T-shares they have is going down pretty fast, at a much faster rate. These rates are about double what they were before the OA changes were put in place. Again, indicating kind of like a fading of the idea that people are going to stake HEX. So they're coming down. And so when we look into the future, over the next month, I would expect another 100,000 to disappear on the Ethereum side, maybe another 80,000 on the Pulse chain side. And that results in the payout per T-share going up, which is something we've talked about quite a bit over time. But everybody may not understand that. We can see it on the chart here. You look at the base T-share payout, payout per T-share here at the bottom, and how that moved along. It just crept upwards and to the right. Well, now we have the same situation happening. It's a lower number, but let's go look at. I think we said it was 320 should do it. 320, 2025. Okay. And so you can see me starting the chart over here. We have all these big ones right here around the end of March, but then it dropped down. Well, over time, as these T-shares end, they either get ended or it could be emergency unstaked and change this, or they come to their expiration date. Perhaps they get perhaps they get good accounted. Anyways, the payout per T-share is just going to slowly creep up. slowly creep up. Now, this is a forecast, so I'm not telling you this is certain. I think it'd be a minimum that when we get out here, without any major changes in staking behavior, a minimum will be somewhere around the two and a quarter, level and payout by the time we get out to 2040. But somebody had pointed out, hey, listen, we really don't know what's going to happen. And we don't. It could be a bunch of emergency end stakes, and if that happens, these rates could go way up. We could have more adoption, but of course we have more adoption. That means there's more T-shares. These rates go down. So we'll just watch it and see. But right now, this is kind of what I would predict is, over 15 years, something like a doubling, or more of the payout. So the APYs will just slowly creep upwards and to the right, and that'll be very predictable. To the extent that we know what people are doing, what the OA is doing to the system. So if you guys got questions, drop them in the chat, and we'll hit them. So I see this coming up and going to the right. This is our payout per T-share. I'll put it on the same chart with the T-shares expiring. So again, it kind of looks like a flat line down here, but it just slowly does go up over time. And then you can see on the top in blue, the T-shares just stepping down. And the steps are predominantly being caused by the OA stakes, the projected ending of the OA stakes that were put into a ladder. So yeah, this is kind of what that profile looks like. So everything's working in HEX as expected. Let's go take a look at our Quattro Cinco starts. So again, I've been doing this every time, but I'm going to take February out, which was an anomaly with the OA staking, and then we'll take a look at what our profile looks like. So so far in April, we've had more emergency end stakes, like we were saying, right? Maybe we've seen more penalties, maybe than the previous month, but we do see more Quattro Cincos being made at 1.3 thousand or 1,300 and change. 1,303.52 T-shares, and last month we had 1,041 and change T-shares created. So, perhaps we're at the bottom of the T-share creation curve. Don't know. Who knew? But we shall see. We shall see. And let's see if we got a question over here about this. About these actuator stuff. Yeah, I've been talking about this actuator finance stuff because I think it's it's worth looking into. So J.A. Soul was asking about Hedron and the HSIs that might be delegated over to over to the actuator protocol. The actuator protocol is a protocol that allows you to borrow value from your HSI HEX stakes, and you can borrow it in the form of an HTT, which is a receipt, fully backed receipt for one HEX in the future. But you retain overall ownership of those HSIs, so you may delegate them, and you may print HTT tokens or HEX time tokens, but it's still your stake. And so I know as you're going in, of course, you can mint your Hedron. You could also reverse the entire process back. You send back the HTTs, undelegate, and take control of the stake again. You just print your Hedron. You just print your Hedron after that. So it's available to you. Yeah, so you don't lose that. So it doesn't go to somebody else or anything like that. Yeah, hey, is that Zone or Zane? Zone. I gotta assume X1. Do you have a guess when V2 ICOs will launch? I don't have a clue. I was really hoping to be out sooner. Even with the actuator, yeah, I'm not really a big player with HSIs, right? I mean, I have them. I mean, I have a decent amount. I mean, so it's not like a crazy number. But I've been holding off like everybody else, waiting to see what Alex was going to do because I didn't want to make a whole bunch of moves with my HSIs and have to reverse the work. But so I haven't heard anything. So I did take a little bit of a plunge. with that. I have seen Alex from Hedron active in the chats recently, and I have seen him active on Twitter, on X. So perhaps, but he's the one who can answer that. I really don't have any inside knowledge. So, and I know he had a lot of things he was thinking about doing. Their X1, including, like you're mentioning, some sort of marketplace. Let's go take a look real quick at our charts and see what we got for HEX. And HEX is always up there in the top top trading pairs. So certainly alive. I went to my own tracking, which is HEX pairs. We're kind of low today in volume on Pulse Chain, but right at the top, HEX Pulse, very big numbers. HEX running about twice the speed of Pulse in this measurement. So HEX to Pulse, about $1 million in volume last 24 hours. HEX to Pulse, something around 250,000. I'm sure there's more that I'm not picking up in some way, maybe even from over PHEX. But yeah, alive and well, plenty of liquidity, at least for the regular schmoes do the trading. Certainly can be able to handle 5-figure trades with minimal slippage back and forth, so pretty active there. In terms of what we got going on, track stats, let's see, top 10. Let's see what we got for top 10. Let's go. I want to go all the way to track stats here. So these are pools with at least $1,000 in liquidity. Yeah, the OG guys, Web Chef community that's out there, they've been cooking the last couple of days with this dominance. Usually it's not up there, but dominance is right up at the top as number one in terms of volume for the day, 2.2 million. That's dominance Pulse. That's a I don't think it's probably a good thing to call it a tax token, but essentially it's a tax token that pays rewards. I think currently pays in purple Bitcoin, purple rep Bitcoin. I think that's what the primary is there. So it's been cooking today. EBTC, I've seen this come rising over the last few weeks. So I kind of dug into a little bit to see if it was one of the protocols or something that I had seen. But again, this may be tied to the OG Web Chef, or somebody's got a lot of Bitcoin that they're willing to throw around. I mean, not that crazy. Bitcoin's almost 100K. We get about 482K in EWBTC Pulse. So it's like, we'll just for the sake of argument, call it 250. So we're talking about somebody bringing over 2 or 3 Bitcoin and putting them in LPM Pulse Chain. So it's not like a super insane, amount, but pretty interesting to see that thing running as fast as it has been. EDI is right up at the top, but what's missing? EDI is there, EWBTC, you got Beast. I don't even see HEX until we get way down here at almost that's position number 10, 9, 8, position 8 at 700,000 today. So maybe things are cooling off. These are not aggregated; these are specific pools, so it's not like all the volume. Lots of different ways to look at all this data, but that gives us a picture of what's happening there. Okay, I'm going to have to go take a look and see what you're talking about with the HMIs and the ability to utilize value on both sides. There, Yasso. I'll have to go take a look and see what those look like, because I'm unaware of what that means. I'll go dig in and ask some questions and come back more informed. So, all right. And then one final little check. Let's go see how, I think, daily stats, right? Let's say HEX daily stats. I'm not sure if it's been being kept up to date as much as it had been in the past. But just taking a little quick look at this price-wise, I didn't pull up the price chart. I guess we could have looked at that, but I don't see any requests out there. But just taking a look at the T-share rates here. Ethereum side 41,590, and the Pulse Chain side 41,278. And payout per T-share just a little bit higher on the Ethereum side, just a little bit higher at 1.536. Not much in the way of penalties to really have affected that. So the base is just a little bit higher, and we can kind of go from there. Let's see what else we got in chat before we wrap up. McSlamming. I know nothing of actuator. Is it wiser to accumulate perps at these prices, or one of the actuators? Well, there are always different things going on, right? So I mean, there's different risk profiles. I mean, they're totally different animals. McSlamming, you get a chance, go over my channel. I did a actuator interview, AMA, with the founder from Actuator. Got some pretty good information in there. Plus, their website's pretty extensive. But we can talk about that offline too. I mean, I can make a case for either, you know. NJ Dub, I saw, I don't know if it was you earlier today who said this, or somebody else had come on and been talking about 50% discounts on the Maxi perpetuals. I don't see that. So I don't know. I mean, yes, I think if I'm looking at DECI, for certain, I can extrapolate out that there's a 40% discount, because what I can do is look at the NAV, and the NAV being the net asset value for what each one of those DECIs is worth. But in terms of HEX, that's probably a really good deal, you know, DECI. But I don't really see that on Maxi. So somebody'd have to educate me, you know, to understand that a little bit better. As to why it's that much of a discount, because it was running pretty close to 1-to-1 at one point, or at least a little bit on a premium, in fact. But so, all right, everybody, look at this. We got it done in less than 30 minutes. I don't see any seeing more questions out there really answering this. You guys drop me a line if you have something, you know, you want to do, some sort of question. Thinking about a couple different streams that I think are related, at least they're related to my interests and related to HEX, maybe not specifically HEX, but maybe we'll get some things out there and we'll cover those. With that, you guys all have a great weekend. If I don't see you, I'll be seeing you. Stay crispy out there, and we'll see you next time.